Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. We have JR Pips with us today. He is a major community leader with what is your who are you repping?
I'm representing DeFi Defenders.
DeFi Defenders, and they've got some pretty cool guys that are running it. Who's the main guy that was able to bring in the Chi Chong guy? I forget his name.
That was Super Connector.
Got some decent people following them and promoting them, so it's pretty dope what we're seeing actually kind of with them. It's interesting. They were able to push up pretty high in regards to their some of the stuff that they were doing. So I thought it was pretty dope. He's an avid trader like me, and we have two different styles, but I kind of was showing him some stuff that's pretty dope, and he kind of incorporated with his own style. Am I assuming right, or is that too much?
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
And I think it's been helping you a little. That's my jug of water every day.
Yeah, I drink a lot of water every day as well. It helps me feel better.
Yes, not just better, man. It makes me trade better. I'm not joking. First thing I do, I wake up, spend time with Jesus. Then from there, I go in, I jump in a cold shower, and then I drink a ton of water right off the jump. 6 o'clock, jump in the gym, or by 6:30, I'm at the gym, pumping some iron. And then I'm old, so weightlifting is important to us old guys. But from there, we have fun, and I come out here, read through the articles of the day, what's checking out. So then I go into the charts, do my trading, and I kind of go from there. So it's real interesting. But I want to hear about. So we were just talking about Axie Infinity and a little bit what's actually going on. And so you guys know that I talked about Axie Infinity. Here we are. The AVAX. This thing kind of frees up on me. I've got like 50 of these things open in my. Let me just close out some of these. Oh, come on. Oh, shit. Oh, come on. This thing is not wanting it's freezing up on me on live. I had this issue the other day. Midnight Crypto, what's up, my dude?
What's happening, buddy? How's it going?
Yeah,
Good. And you?
I'm expecting a call, so I'll just apologize if I do have to go. But I'm expecting a business call in a minute. In about 30 minutes. How's it going?
Good. We're going over some charting stuff. And my computer here is freezing up. So I am hoping that I'm not gonna have to reset this. So I might have to come back on. This is gonna be such a pain. Come on. Don't die. Don't die on me. There we are. Woo! Alrighty, there we are. Come on. Alrighty.
What are we looking at?
So we're looking at right now we're talking about Axie Infinity. Real quick. So I've been messing with this short here for a while on a few major places that you can short this. But it's been really interesting that I had talked about back here when it was up at $15, $16, and also up in this level here, how I thought that we should be seeing Axie Infinity. Please come down, test our area here, and then from here, come back down. And honestly, I'm really expecting Axie to play with this 5-7, 5-1-8, and do something similar. And actually, I think JR, he's also an avid trader too, was talking about how this might actually see another rally up. Or it could be basically two. You go ahead if you want to, Jay. Talk about a little bit, what you were seeing before I jump.
I actually just finished marking it up. So I was actually, so at first I was saying, all right, maybe it'll go up and hit the resistance, which I believe was around what 11 or 11.5 or so.
Yep.
But when analyzing the higher time frames, I actually realized that there was a huge huge push up. I'd even say there was like when this thing first took off, right? Like just bare bones. When this thing first took off, if you think about it, when there's a lot of people that get in all at once, what starts to happen when you get back to their entry price, they start to freak out. So they're like, hey, currently, let's say they bought it at $9, or let's say, so there's actually a huge amount of people that bought between $4 and about $16. Now, a good portion of the people who bought up higher up have already sold. But as it gets closer and closer to their entry price, they're like, hey, this thing was at one point at $167. Now it's only $9. I want to get my initial money out before, I lose everything.
Yeah.
And so because of how many people got in, I could see this thing going to 5.6 or so.
Yeah.
Easily I'd say in the next week or two, it'll probably hit 5.6. Now, obviously that's not a guarantee, but that's just what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And a lot of people, and I have the same sentiment. We can have a couple things. I always tell people, look, give them the full scope of how we see the markets, right? And so for myself, look, the market has been trailing off of that 8-period moving average. We see it trending pretty hard. In addition to that, we also have a strong turnaround. We have a lot of resistance above us. Price likes to go in the most easiest way possible, right? That's the way it does. The market makers, the institutions don't like to have to put in a lot of money to push through a bunch of stuff unless they really, really believe in something from a fundamental standpoint. Right now, Infinity has lost a lot of power from a fundamental standpoint simply because there are a lot more other coins out there and a lot more other organizations, right, that are doing the same thing that they're doing, but they're doing it cheaper and they're doing it better. So I feel like from a fundamental standpoint that they're an old dinosaur unless they decide to turn around their system and really come through hardcore. I don't see them turning around. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't, because they still got a lot of money in their ecosystem. They still got about 220,000 people playing their games. So they're having, there's money coming in. They know they're losing power. They know they're losing market share. So I feel like down at these levels, this is going to scare them, right? Like this is like Bitcoin is going sideways. Their technical analysis guys are saying Bitcoin's going sideways, if not going up a little, and we're moving down, right? So that's not good. We need to do something to flip that around. We need to flip our narrative.
It's not gonna happen.
Talk to me, Midnight. Why do you say that?
It's not gonna happen because this is what everyone's failing to see. Who's the biggest financial threat in the world right now would be BlackRock.
Yes, sir.
And then what is BlackRock doing?
They are buying up land and they are buying into crypto and creating their own blockchain. It's a whole entire ecosystem, I believe. Now, talk to me what you know about Talk a little bit about it.
BlackRock wants to create its own ETF, right? And what they need to do is to create the ETF, they need to actually push the Bitcoin price down to as low as possible so they can buy up the market. Yes. So essentially, what the price is going to go down to $10,000, and that is that's the minimum price it'll go. I think it'll go a bit lower, but $10,000. This is not financial advice, guys, but for them, in order to start these type of things, look, for an investor like me, I'm great. I already got my buy orders at 4,000, 6,000, and 10,000, right?
Yes.
But obviously, what levels I've got them, I've got quite a big bunch of buy orders. But you need to see it in this perspective. Wealth transfer happens in bear market.
Yes, it does.
Does.
Yes, it does.
All right.
Absolutely.
So what's gonna happen is in the next year or so. So this right now we're in a bear trap. Forget crypto in general. We're in a market bear trap.
We are. Yes, we are.
This is the biggest bear trap of the century. So what's going to happen is if you look at the chart from 1920 to now, right, and you look at how it went, there was never a proper decent correction for the stock market.
Yes. Yes.
So the stock market has been on a bull run for the last 30 years.
I'd even say since the 70s, honestly.
Yeah, like
let
after
me pull out here real quick so
1971.
everybody can see. So let me pull it out so we can see what we're talking about here. So here we go.
You need to do more years.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so this is what he's talking about, right? Oh shoot, they don't show it. All
Here,
right, so
try a different broker. Different brokers have different amounts of data.
maybe Yahoo does.
But yeah,
Yahoo. That's
if
a
you're
good
looking
one.
since 1971, and you're gonna see what I mean, and then people
Yeah.
will get it. Actually, I would look at stock market since from 1920.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We're going back. We are
Now,
going
if you
back.
really want to know what crash we're getting, look at from
Yes.
1920.
Oh man.
Look, I'm not like my chart analysis is not the best, right? I just do bits and bobs. I'm too busy to sit there and look at charts. But when I do,
By the way, tell us about while I'm looking this up. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you coming from. I like bringing people on from just different views of the world and just bringing in different aspects of how they see things. So
I'm midnight crypto, or like everyone knows me as John. I've been in the crypto space since the birth of Bitcoin. Actually, I even saw the when the white paper got released. So the first version of there was a draft version, then the first version. So I saw like both, and then you got this page. These 6 or 7 pages, I think it is Bitcoin draft papers. Like I think the end cover 7 pages, which is
the original one was 6 or 7, and then they came out and revised it. I think the second one is like 14. Right,
6 pages is the original, man. Like there's
I
no
know.
they revised it, maybe the new guys, but the concept doesn't change. You can't add to a concept. Like I mean,
Right.
you can't it's not got any flaws, right? For you to add, you can actually upgrade and add to the model, but you can't change the concept. The concept will always be the same. It's like you can't change maths.
I agree. It's universal. It's the universal truth.
So this is the Bible of crypto, right? That's what started it, and crypto has been going on for look, a decentralized blockchain would have happened in the early 70s until they brought that shitty ledger system that the banking started at in 76
Remember,
or something.
we're family friendly. Family friendly.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good. Keep going.
We forget here. Because I am. I do swear, guys, but I swear for a reason. So everyone needs to learn how to swear.
I agree.
All right. Now, just just zoom out. Keep going. You've got way to go, my friend. Just go max.
Let's see if it's gonna allow me to go. Oh, these guys, man, they just don't want to allow us to see it.
They don't want us to be great.
No, look. Let me find something. Let me find it.
Why isn't it wanting to let me show it?
Let's see. As far as wait, what are you looking at? What indice are you looking at? S&P. Okay.
Yes, S&P. It is not letting me show it for whatever reason. Take off some.
Go with this one. How far does this one go?
90-year chart. Let me have a look.
Oh, actually, hold on, because I have the Pro.
Here we are. All right. That's on why I want to let me show the month. Here we go.
Yeah, mine only goes back to 2003. That's crazy.
Here we are. There we are. Alrighty. That's my try of an English accent. Don't yell at me for that.
Just do it yearly.
All right, here we go. Here we are.
Look at the chart. So when did the bull run officially start in the thing? Keep going back a little bit. I think you can go back a bit more.
Let's see if
Just
it
go to
allows
back.
me to.
If it allows you to go back 1920, you'll see like where the market was doing pretty bad.
Come on, why is this being no pain in my booty?
Let me see if I can do my PC one second.
There we are. There we are. All right. All right.
So just say 9th.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
So
Here we
that's
go.
fine.
Now,
So that's
mind you, I want to point this out here real quick. So this is yearly. These are yearly candles here. Okay. So we're stemming back from all the way. It allows us to go down to 1927. And I want to point out, so there was a major it was actually after when America went through, because the stock market's been around for a long time, right? We've actually had trading within currencies since the 1700s, right? The Battle of Waterloo between currency, Nathan Rothschild went through and basically took over the world through his exchange when he basically sold the pound and bought the franc, right? And then everybody rallied it up to the front, right, of the trading. And then he sold because Napoleon lost. And then he bought the pound at its complete lowest. And then from that moment on, he ruled the world. His family ruled the world. Like, absolutely, right? And everything rallied and he was the man. I say that because trading has been around for a long time. So I want to point out real quick that when we had another drop after the Civil War, Civil War, when the South basically, the whole entire Southern slavery trade and all that stuff went through and just devastated. And we had a huge depression. So from that, we had a huge rally back up. Okay, then we had the Roaring 20s. The Roaring 20s, basically, long story short, something very similar to this right here, okay, that we see. We had some very similar 20s, everybody living high on credit, going through, playing the market, okay? So I preface that with, go ahead now with what you're about to say with the 1930s.
Change that to monthly.
Yes, sir.
So go there, change that to monthly.
Most people don't know like the history of things, so I just like to.
I'm not sure if the monthly will go that far back.
It will, because I can see it where I am.
Oh, okay.
I can see it on my PC. Unless, let me send you. Maybe I can send you this link.
Hey, yeah, but hey, listen, if you want to, you can just share the screen. Share your screen, brother. You're good.
Okay.
You should be able to go down and say, and I will stop
present,
stop screen, and then you should be able to take over real quick.
Okay.
And we're about to have another guy come in too as well. Another guy. He's really fun. He's a fundamental analysis guy. He really does a lot of stuff fundamentally. And I've been trying to get Midnight in here in a minute. So thanks for coming in, my brother.
1 second, because I got to close my Teams. Otherwise, you're going to be seeing a lot of pop-ups. Right, can you see my screen?
Yeah,
can you guys see me
right now. You guys should
be
able to see. Go ahead.
Look at this chart, right? All right, let's go back now. See, 1920, right? So this is when the war started. Like, so the war hadn't finished yet.
Zoom in to that so that we can see it.
So it's like, if you zoom in, market's not doing so bad. The war, like, we're still in a war, quite a long war.
I want to push, but I want to point that out, right? That from the Civil War until we had the Great War, which was the First World War, we had a huge rally, huge freaking rally. I want to make sure we point that out. All right, go ahead. In the market.
1 second, because we got to get the dates right.
Yeah.
So the First World War, remember, started in 1914.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So it
in
finished
1914
in
and 1917.
Depends on who shot the shot, right?
Yeah, finished in 1918. The Second World War. So you see how this, because we don't see the past. Obviously, we need to see a bit further. But when they start logging information, so you see how the market was doing great, right? Then friction has started right here, around about here. The war hadn't started yet, and then 1939, the war starts. You see, the market is not doing so great. There's no movement. There's wall around. Nothing's happening really fancy.
Well, I want to point out, we are seeing we're keeping that low though. If you notice that we were keeping that low right there.
Yep.
Of,
So
good.
1944, everyone's seen that the war is going towards the west side. Germany's losing, and the war, like say 1944, the war is about to end. 1945, the war ends, right? So now look at the market. We're in a bull run.
Boom. Yep.
Look, I zoom out. We're in a bull run, and the bull run has been going on since then, right? There's been some minor corrections, but look at it. And then you got the big bloody jumps.
Yeah. Now this is now that. So back in 2000.
See, 2008 was meant to be the real crash. It was meant to come here. In 2008, that's where it should have come. Now this
to 500.
The 500, bro.
Okay.
That's where it went. The correction was meant to be round about here.
Well,
and now this is gonna come around here.
We came to the 700 mark. Would you say that was
should have went lower? To be fair, I personally think it should have went around here.
Yeah, probably around there is what I was thinking as well.
Okay.
I personally think it should have went around here, but 500 would have been the minimum. This is where you would have had your averages. So your average move. But here, really, look at this. What do you see?
Yeah, we're seeing nothing but green. We see nothing but
You're
a
gonna
slippery
see a
slide.
bit of correction. You're gonna see this. You gonna see that?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get one big one, and then you're gonna fucking get a big dump, and then I think this is gonna be we probably might even beat the 200 because how bad the market, because the market has not even crashed. This is gonna be the hugest crash we've ever experienced before even the wars.
That's interesting. Now obviously we don't know.
But really, look at this. It's not financial advice, but you gotta look at this. Look, this shouldn't have happened from 2008. This shouldn't have happened.
Sideways? You think we should have just went sideways, correct?
This should have been like this, so like not going up. It should have been. Can I draw lines here? Should have been something like this. That's where we should be right now.
Fair. I could see that. I definitely can see that. I think also with that same aspect,
we shouldn't be. So if you look at, if I do, can I do another line? See, hope this lets me.
Just hit copy. Just hit, click on it and hit copy.
1 second. I don't want to.
Click on it.
Yeah, got it. Look at this line. Look at the difference.
Yep.
That's not healthy.
Yeah, well, that's a 45-degree angle, and the other one's probably about 20-degree angle.
So now, if you go and do that again. Sorry, I don't use bloody Yahoo. So if you do this again, look at this.
Yeah. Now here's the thing that I want to throw this out here for you. So now obviously we had quantitative easing, right? Quantitative easing which is what we saw why we had that huge rally up, right? It was easy money coming into the markets, allowing people to be able to.
Well, they started printing and they're giving less interest, right?
They're
reducing the interest.
Keyword. The interest. Now, the reason why I bring that up is when do you think, because America built this, right? And the world financial system, the central banks made sure that it was easy money. Now, did they do this on purpose? I don't know. That's debatable, right? I don't know. But did they decide they want to crash it? But I sit there and think, now I think it isn't going to happen overnight. I think this will happen over the next 2 to 3 years, right? That we'll see what we saw in 2008 or 2001 to 2002, right? Where half the market basically lost its value, right?
No, but 2002 wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad, really, because that was a correction. You should have just followed the line. If it followed the line, we wouldn't be in this position where we are. Because in 2008, you can see when the printing started and saying, oh, the economy is doing great. And the bankers that are manipulating the system, they're not getting in trouble. They go, right, let's manipulate the market. Let's just keep going. The They're becoming billionaires, but they don't understand that, you know, wealth doesn't, you don't lose wealth. It gets transferred to others. So the ones with opportunity, the ones that see what's going on, right,
Yep.
will know. And the ones that, you know, are waiting for that time, and at the time, you know, it's people will want, you know, people will want revenge in a sense. They will want their you know, their money back, their assets back.
I tell my friends, I tell my boomer friends, mind you, I'm Generation X, not Generation Y, and so I talk to them. I'm like, listen, this is your opportunity to catch the stock market within crypto at basically 1930, 1920 prices, or 1930 prices, right? During the war and everything what was going on. Like this is your opportunity because you can buy these coins at extremely cheap, right? And they have a hard time understanding, like they have a hard time understanding the creation of wealth that is going to be happening within the blockchain. What's actually happening with it? I'm talking to somebody who has an international presence as a lawyer for blockchain. And she's always going through and talking about a bunch of things. And she's going to be hopefully one of my guests that I have come on here to talk about things. But I would love to hear her thoughts on, because she sees it from a global standpoint, the adoption happening in other countries, right? Like East and South Africa, South America, right? Places where, from a financial standpoint, if they hold their own dollar, they lose money, right? So it behooves them to hold on to crypto, which is keeping its value. Whether it's Polygon or whether it's, by the way, Polygon with Warren Buffett, dude, talk about the man who switched his mentality, right? And now came out with his own blockchain. That's something to talk about later, but
you gotta think about it. This is a market manipulation, right? You gotta think of it this way. They can always talk bad about it because obviously they didn't get a good entry. So Warren Buffett is the same. I'll never follow Warren Buffett's advice. Why? Because Warren Buffett already made his money. He got into the market early, and he was at the right time in the right place, right? And this is the problem with Warren Buffett. I need to stop sharing my screen. Sorry. The problem with Warren Buffett is he definitely knows what he's doing, and he's definitely leading people astray. Because, you know, he said, "Oh well, I don't believe in it," but now the price is coming, and he knows that BlackRock wants to reduce the price of cryptocurrencies. Now he's ready to buy.
Yes.
Here's another thing, though, is Warren Buffett, right? So you're saying don't listen to Warren Buffett. Do you know who listened to Warren Buffett as far as advice? Is Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, and
he would have been,
yeah.
But he would have been the richest person in the world if he didn't listen to Warren Buffett. But Warren Buffett's like, hey, diversify, which usually is a good idea. But with the case of with Microsoft, right, because he was the biggest shareholder, he took his advice. He sold a bunch of his shares, and look at what happened to Microsoft right after it took way off. And obviously now it's one of the most valuable companies in the world.
He's still got a percent of Microsoft. He still owns the percent of Microsoft.
Oh yeah, of course. But you want to know who bought? You want to know who probably? Obviously, it's all speculation. But you want to know who probably bought Microsoft when he sold?
Warren Buffett.
Berkshire Hathaway's. Yeah.
Who?
Well, if we had the blockchain,
Warren Buffett's holding company.
Of course, I'm telling you, he's manipulating the situation. But then, how do you know that Bill Gates doesn't own any of Warren's company?
That's true. It's very. I mean, there's backside deals that are done all the time, and we don't know about it.
Oh yeah.
So what they're earning money both ways. Sell the company, make money. Sell it here, make money this way. Wait. I'm going to Google this because this would be very interesting to know if Bill Gates has any shares in Warren Buffett's company.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he didn't buy even on the open market, right? He was able to buy OTC, right? and so there was a deal that was probably made. I mean, they're friends. They're not, so there's probably certain things that they were doing. The biggest thing is when I look at the market at large, and
He actually
go ahead.
he owns 1.65% of Berkshire Hathaway. It's crazy.
There
That's a
you go.
lot.
And that's
1.6.
that's Bill Gates' biggest shares.
Well, does he own A, B, or C stock?
So he owns Berkshire
sure.
Hathaway, his number one stock, West Management, Canadian National Railway, right? Caterpillar, no idea what that is.
Caterpillar is a general company that creates farm equipment.
Also like Deere, like
Yeah.
John Deere almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And he owns Schrodinger as well. So come on, like he's not stupid. So basically, he sold his company to this company that he owns percentage of, and essentially he has a percentage of Microsoft as well as a percentage of this. So he's earning shitload of money from this and that. So he's making putting 2 and 2 together.
A lot of money. And remember, he owns. So one of the things that we got to remember, right, is that his foundation, majority of his money is in his foundation, right? He has a huge philanthropic. I don't even know if that's a real word. Philanthropic. Or he's a huge. He gives a lot of money away, right? And that's what he does. So on the backside, he needs to make sure that he's earning income coming in so that he can give it away. He was one of the primary guys who helped set up the RNA system for the Savasa, keyword Savasa sickness. So I'm just saying, I'm throwing that out there. Do not use the word, okay? But he was the primary guy that really pushed it out there, because if we use certain words, the words that should not be named on YouTube and Facebook and all that other stuff, we will be shut down, right? So I use certain code words. But one of the things I bring this up because it's real important, right, is that both of them got different, or both of them have similar agendas, right? They're both a part of Davos. They're both part of when G20, the G20 governments come together, right? These guys, these elites are the ones a part of it, right? They talk, they communicate. So they have certain things that they're trying to do, right? And they need money to do it. And so they need income coming in. So a lot of those companies that you see, they have great dividends. They pay great dividends. I know Warren Buffett doesn't pay dividend, but the fact is that he's now creating his own blockchain, his own system, and he's now going to be placing it onto Polygon. That's why we've seen a huge push in Polygon, right? It's because Warren Buffett likes their system and is going to be moving with them, right? So it's one of those things that, like, I would have never thought. I just would have thought that Warren Buffett would have created his own. I knew that he was poo-pooing. I knew that he was into crypto simply because of Zilla, right? And he had a huge stake in Zilla for the gaming system. But when it comes down to it, oh, what's up, Marshmallow? How you doing? Come in. Give us your thoughts. This is Marshmallow. He's part of a call channel that he has out there. I'm going to shout out your call channel real quick.
I'd rather not.
Fair enough. All right. All right. But he's one of my boys. I call him like the man on the street here. Goes through, he looks at things, and he's a degen junkie too. So it's all good. All right. So jumping in real quick. We know that he has real push when it comes to his positions within crypto, right? He was poo-pooing Bitcoin, yet one of his major holdings and within his fund sits there and it switches from paying people in normal dollars to actually play to now Bitcoin. So they needed to buy a bunch of Bitcoin so that they could actually give it to their customers. So they needed it to go down. So that's why Warren Buffett was sitting there and making all these statements regarding the markets at large. And it's a good play because the SEC won't slap his hands anymore. But now that the SEC's come out and put the smack down on people and they're actually taking people to jail, Warren Buffett can get in trouble now. So now that's why he shut his mouth and released his own his own system. He's trying to push the market as much down as possible so that he could actually get a position in at a fair level, right? I think you said it perfectly. I don't think that the market has dropped far enough. I do think the market down at 15 and 10,000 mark is really a sustainable, a real mark that they want to see it go down to. But the key is which major coin is going to take over Bitcoin's place? Do you think that will happen? That's
Oh
the
yeah,
real
definitely.
question.
The flippening.
The flippening. I love it. Yes.
That's what they call it. That's what they call it with it's a popular term in Forex for the euro and the dollar because they go back and forth a lot over the decades.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, flippening.
I love flippening. And we can look at that right here. But it's interesting to see now that we've seen a sell-off of the dollar kicking in and how we're now starting to see other things rallying. But here's the thing. We're not seeing a major sell-off per se in relation to its rally, right? Like here, we'll pull up the DYX here. Look, the DYX, it's been rallying hard, but it's not like we're seeing a Mariposa. You know what I'm saying? October, it's typically been a bad month for the market, right? It's good to have an actual twist around. So this is where we're not seeing major sell-off with the dollar. I think we're going to be coming in and pushing the market back up here real quick based off, or pushing the market down, because the dollar is, a lot of times we have an inverse relationship between the dollar, right, and a couple other things. So it's just one of those things I feel Bitcoin will see a turnaround because of the dollar. And I say that because I'm not seeing major real selling stepping in. So it's just one of those things that I want to, it's important to pay attention to and look at as we're moving forward, right? Because right now everything's hinging on the dollar. I find it interesting that the rest of the world is also having a really hard time doing business with America and around the world, because they've got to exchange their currency into the dollar to interact with the world's not world banking system, but the world's commerce system, and being able to exchange certain things. So I just think it's really interesting. What are your guys' thoughts?
Oh, I 100% agree. I think, I mean, obviously, I started as a foreign exchange trader. I don't really trade Forex anymore, but recently, like I was talking about the flippening, that happened where the euro and the dollar are now worth the same amount. That hasn't happened in a I think 20 years or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
pretty long time. And
it
so
was
like the dollars
during the 80s and 90s.
Was it the 90s? Okay, 80s, 90s? Yeah. So yeah, it hasn't. Obviously, the dollar is losing a lot of momentum, and the reason I feel like that is because people are starting to realize just how bad inflation is getting, and so nobody wants to hold on to their dollars anymore, and that's just causing the dollar to plunge in value, and we're probably going to see a huge sell-off. Besides what we've already seen, we're probably going to see a huge sell-off on the dollar because nobody wants to hold on to it anymore.
I actually think the opposite. I do think that we'll see another
Really?
rally back. Yeah, I do. I feel like we're going to see a rally up to the 118, 117, if not up in these levels here. Simply because as the market keeps moving up, now this is back in the 2000s, right? As the market was pulling up. This is, and I bring this up because we're seeing a sell-off, but it's not like I have an engulfing candle. Like we're a few days away from the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
And literally, like, look, we're right here. I mean, it's not like it's sitting down here, right? We're halfway here, maybe, right? And that's if we don't see another rally back up. So that's why I sit there and say the dollar's not done. It's coming back to support, which was previous resistance right here, to find more buyers and to see it come back on. So that to me is one of those important things to point out, because as we're moving forward, the real sellers are sitting up in here, and that's if we don't stop. Remember, if they can push the dollar up higher and higher, it will crash the economy. It will cause smaller companies, or excuse me, smaller countries out there to actually stop and being able to produce. And then our grocery stores, all the stuff that we like, our knickknacks and stuff like that, are going to have issue. Major issue, because they're not going to be able to keep up with the actual trade because the dollar is so expensive. So it's just, it's weird. And then that's when I think we'll see a major crash. But I mean, and there's one level here. Look, there's the 127 mark. 120. So this is something that we're trying to, like, we talk about the G20 mark, right? And Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. We're talking about major people who are trying to crash the market, right? So they can usher in a different system. And this is where you'll own nothing and be happy. And I'm referring to the world, the Great Reset. And one of the ways that they're doing is this right here. It's the way to do it. If I was going to crash the economy, the best way to do that is to make it too expensive to do business within the economy. Follow me?
Yeah, no, 100% follow you.
So that's my view. That's how I see that's how I personally see what's actually going on. You know, I mean, that's how I see the things. That's how I picture them coming in and just being like, bam. And here's the key, right? We're seeing Bill Gates, we're seeing Buffett, we're seeing, and even now Tesla, we're seeing Elon Musk, right, starting to do some crazy stuff. So for me, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at things going, whoa. It's kind of mind shaking when I see this stuff, right? I don't know. I just think it's crazy. I mean, it literally is to think like Elon Musk is starting to play to these, or starting to pander to their way. So maybe he was a sheep or maybe he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't know, right? But it seems a little bit like how he's starting to move things, how he's starting to play with Twitter, how he's starting to move out with the statements that he's making, right?
Yeah.
Real unique. What are you guys' thoughts?
Look, one, the dollar is gonna crash. When the dollar crashes, everything is gonna follow with it. Okay, so you got to think of it this way. What's happening is, go back to the dollar. Just look at the dollar itself and what's happening, and then you'll know that. Look at this spike, right?
Right here?
It's not normal.
This is the monthly.
Yeah, but it's not normal, right?
Agreed. Yes, definitely not normal.
So, what was the latest announcement from the president? That the United States is not going through a recession. We are strong. As you can see, the dollar is doing great.
Oh, yeah, right.
But do you know how long it'll take to pay your governmental debt?
Oh yeah, forever.
50,000 years, my friend.
Yeah. Well, and this is the reason why that is being stated is literally because we're literally our GDP is literally backwards. If you look at the actual, like, this is the gross domestic product, right? You can see we're actually going backwards. Instead of this moving up, it's like 37, 30. We're now at 20,000. Now we're about to break. Look, we're literally losing money because of inflation and what's actually going on with our trade deals. And so this is why they're saying 50,000 years, right? It's literally because we're backwards. We're literally going backwards in comparison to our national debt, which is literally moving up, right? Like literally you can see that it's increasing 10,000 every second, or even a milli, maybe half a second. So this is why they have these statements. And in conjunction with that, our real debt is really the U.S. unfunded liabilities. This is the real number that we need to really consider, because this is us paying our military, not bonuses, our military, I don't know what it's called, pensions, like military pensions. This is stuff that needs to be paid for senior citizens and SSI. This is the real number people don't even look at. So it all depends. If America embraces blockchain, and actually starts creating some real amazing stuff, this could jump from 24 to 50, if not 75 trillion dollars, because of the dramatic growth that we will see, right? So it's really interesting. It very much could flip, but we'll see what happens, right? Like it's a real interesting thing.
Did you know a thing? Like I was watching something about what's happened to the market and etc. So it was predicted because of the Paris Accord that the world leaders they signed. They predicted that if they keep going the way they're going, the prediction is 850 million people could die of hunger.
Yes, yeah, coming up this year for during the winter, or the southern side of the southern hemisphere because of the droughts over the past 2 years. Yeah, yep, yeah, it's pretty sad. We're talking almost a full billion people could be dying of hunger. Yeah, I know exactly.
That's crazy.
And you gotta think why, and you gotta understand why is this happening. One, it's not the people's fault because electric cars were there, like from early days. We had the facilities to give everyone power from early days. We still got the technology to do it, right? And then our problem. So you look at the dollar. Why did I point at the dollar? One, because of what's happening now, and then the U.S. debt. It has to crash. There's no way. You can't just give and give and give and give and give. And these givens, by the way, are not happening to normal people. They're not. It's not the average Joes, right? They're happening to like the banks are taking the big chunks.
Yes.
The banks are taking from the government, from the people, and from the investor.
And when we say banks, who do you mean by banks? Because is it your local bank?
We're looking at the world central banks, right? You're looking at like you got the central bank of Europe, central bank of UK. They got their own central bank, and then you're looking at like central bank of China, India, etc., Russia, and then they're all controlled by one. It's called BIS, right?
Or the Crown Estate.
Well, the Crown Estate control a lot of assets.
Assets within BIS. What is the BIS? Explain to me what BIS is.
So BIS is like an organization that is owned by the central banks, essentially owned by the central banks, but it's not. I think the BIS, when the BIS was started, it was actually started to control the central banks.
I'm going to put that into our stuff here.
So if you look at that, and you got like different clubs, everything comes down from BIS down to central bank, then to central government. The regulators, which is people like Club of Rome, there's quite a few. Then the central governments. So in essence, what happened of late is they tried to implement Marxism. It didn't work. They tried to so what Kissinger said was like, how do we control the world, right? So you control the food, you control people, right? You said you control the food, you control people, you control power, you control countries. You control money, you control the world. That's what Kissinger said. I don't know if any of you knows Kissinger is still alive. He was like he was a policy maker back in the day. He was Reagan's right hand man, I think it was. Yeah.
He wasn't like that outspoken. Right? I would equate him to what's the guy? Wong. He's the guy. So what are your feelings about with Xi? Because she's now president, and that's another thing that's flying in the face of the world dominance. Do you think that they're going to bow down to China for this type of system, or do you think they're going to create their own system?
No, nothing. Look, China is There's two things that I heard it from a guy, and he goes to me, like a really wealthy man, actually, very close friends to King Charles, should we say? And this guy is a close friend of mine. He said to me, two things you need to know in the world: what's happening right now. When the Rothschild family, obviously he used the term Jewish, but the Rothschild family, they said the owners of the world would be the Chinese in terms of production. The managers of the world are the Jewish community.
This is coming from a friend who's heard from.
This is someone that works with these people. He can see wealth. His company actually manages probably over $900 billion or something. So I'm not gonna go anymore.
Well, listen, I want you to come back on here at midnight. So you need to stop talking because you're giving away secrets, and they're gonna come knocking on your door. They're gonna be like, "Come and knock on my door. I'm coming to knock on your door."
I don't care. I don't care about that, man. But
he's all, "Come on in."
Nah, I'm not worried about that, but obviously the truth does come out, and these are public information. If you actually look at things, you will see information. And the thing is, what I try and say to people, really educate yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Education is always there, and they make these mistakes, right? The UN posted an article saying how world hunger is good.
Yeah. Why? Because it kills off people, and hence
not about that. If someone is hungry, they will do the jobs that they don't want to do.
Okay.
And that equates to modern slavery. So we will pay them crap money to say that we're being humane, but then with that crap money, they can't afford to eat, so they'll work harder to get that.
And then they raise and mess with interest rates, then mess with inflation down the road. And so when they feel like they've actually retired or have the ability to retire, i.e. boomers, then they go through and now they have to keep working until they die. Is that what you primarily mean? Like that, just that never ending, you work until you die. So it's basically modern day indentured servitude.
Yeah, it's basically modern day slavery. Look at it this way. You work for a company all your life, yes? You pay taxes all your life and you're going to get pension. Your pension doesn't cover your living expenses.
Absolutely.
At all that time. You may have not, even if it's free it's free healthcare and everything else. You've never used that healthcare ever, and you're still paying taxes. So imagine you retire, you got like £700 a month to live on, to pay all your bills, to go out. Maybe you can't save for a holiday. That's virtually impossible. But you work all your life for people that will replace you as soon as you go.
I see that. Yeah. I mean, but that's almost how it's always been since, even hunter-gathering societies, right? Like that's,
but since then, if you learn to adapt and grow,
right,
you could make something of yourself. But now they manipulate the educational system so you can't adapt and grow. They create classes on how you should learn. They don't nurture your skill set. They say you have to know these subjects because we say so. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like that's almost like it kind of falls with the idea of like the American dream of, hey, you can be something if you work hard enough. If you work harder than everyone else, this is what you can become. But that dream of like the American dream has been dead since like I would say the 1920s, because they've just been like you're saying, they're manipulating everyone into working harder, but that opportunity really isn't there. It hasn't been for about 100 years now.
No, it isn't.
Well, I would disagree with that. And just primarily because I remember as a kid, even into my 20s, and early 30s, American Dream was still was there. It was really more or less the last 10 years, 15 years where we started really becoming this losing faith within U.S. government. And in addition to that, I mean, it was 2008, 2000 to 2002, you saw the market, right? You saw this idea of like, okay, I remember it happening, and a lot of people were losing money. I liked it because I was able to put money in, right, and see the market kind of move up. But in the backside, right, you started seeing people start to lose kind of faith in the U.S. government and that idea. But there was still a big majority. People doubled down, started to work twice as hard, right? And then on top of that, as that's happening, they did let the market fall apart, right? They didn't try to come in and do quantitative easing. They didn't sit there and try to do all this other stuff, right? They really just kind of played with it and watched things how it worked. And then from there, because of the tech bubble, we saw a restructuring of the market and where you could start to rebuild. It wasn't until after 2008, 9, where it was like things started kind of happening in a sense. And I remember because I was I was late 20s, going in my 30s, and I remember being like, people really started losing faith after the Gulf War, after the idea of Trump, and then Obama came in with that idea of let's start over, right? Let's make basically America great, right? With a new hope, a new dream, and then from there, nothing happened, nothing changed, right? We kept getting these promises over and over, hence throwing the idea that the American dream, even though it's being preached, nobody's really seen it come into fruition, because now you thought you could have a house that blew. I mean, half of America's, I would say half of America, a lot of them, a large portion of lower class income people lost their houses based off of predatory lending that happened within America. So it wasn't until I would say the last 10 or 5 to 10 years where people really started, and that's when you were raised. I mean, listen, I'm 43, right? So, and I mean, midnight, you look about or at least close to my age, you're in your 30s. So I would assume like we remember that. I remember when England started getting pissed off and you guys started having riots, in the late 2010s, right? Where there was some civil unrest and some things that were going on. So it's not, but now the rest of the world wants that American dream. And this is the issue, right? Like, how does that happen? We have 300 million middle class Chinese that are now a dominant force. Out of the 1.4 billion people, you have 300 million that are now middle class, right? So it's a unique situation. On top of that, you have an emerging Indian society that also wants to be middle class, right? And I think they're one. I don't know if they're 1.7 or 1.2. I forget. All the numbers sometimes kind of roll together. But you still, out of them, you still have a large portion of them that are grinding. Like half the time I get calls from people, trying to steal my money. I'm pretending that they're the IRS, right? Come tax season, and they're all Indian, right? So it's, or Pakistani, right? Like, so it's a unique thing, but they want that American dream, a middle class being able to go out, get your Starbucks, right? Go to your day job. So it's a give and take. We haven't lost the American dream. You can still, like JR, you can still, if you want to, the next 20 years, 30 years, work your butt off and retire well. Not all your friends, but you will, because you're in the system. You understand how things are going, right?
Yeah.
So you get it. Like, you're at a young age. I mean, I won't dox you there, but you're at a young age and you got it. So I don't know. I guess I'm over here preaching. Tell me, what are your guys' thoughts?
To be quite honest, it's a difficult situation we're in. I remember it's harder for actually people to the younger generation to get anywhere. Why do I say that? The only reason is when back in the early 80s, people were you did the simple degrees. They begged you to come for work. They gave you like the job. They didn't even bother like interviewing. They were like, "Oh, we know your degree is great," but now a degree is just a piece of paper, but they still require, and it means nothing, right? So the opportunities that the so-called dinosaurs had back in the day that were in their early 20s or early 30s doesn't give us these opportunities today. So anyone that was in their early 20s in the 70s was laughing because it worked for a great company, they got shares, they got a lot of money to work with to basically do nothing. They had their own coffee boy, you know what I mean? Like they were spoiled. But now, someone to get in the industry, just say for myself, I graduated from university and it took me 9 months to find a job, and I had a great degree, everything else, 9 months to find a job. First question they ask, what experience do you have? Well, you say, no, I haven't got any experience because I've just graduated. You know, how are you going to have any work experience? Yes, I have experience by like volunteering and doing different things, but I haven't got work experience in this field because I've just graduated.
Remember before, obviously COVID changed the work atmosphere with a lot of things, but before the Great Resignation started, with a lot of people quitting their jobs, I almost feel like you needed work experiences to like work at like a Burger King. I was like, remember a couple of years ago when I was first getting a job, because I'm pretty young. I remember like it was competitive. It was on the employers had the pick of the litter of, hey, this is who we want. Now it's almost changing around to the employee has a lot of the power now of, hey, where do I want to work? Obviously, they can still not choose you, but people are getting desperate for good workers now. So
Well, and you know who changed that, right? You know what changed? So this is important to understand a difference between the UK and the American jobs situation. In the UK right now, there is a job shortage, or not a job shortage. There are job shortages. You guys are having issues. Businesses are closing down. Things are happening, right? The job market is becoming harder, right? Especially the fact is that when it comes down to the pound, right? Like the pound is having major issue keeping systems going. You guys just literally, your prime minister just quit, right? Last week. Like, she's like,
that's crazy.
she's like, I'm done. F this, right? Like, right? That was real. Like, that really happened. She just said, peace, right? And now we have a
She
guy.
didn't say peace. Actually, if you
Yeah.
need to understand what happened is because she made stupid mistakes.
Understand.
She was like, oh, you know what? Like I'll put taxes up. I'll do this. I'll do that. And then, yes, you can put taxes up, but who's suffering? Not you.
Yeah, that and I get that. She did some. The reason why I'm saying that, she made stupid policy mistakes that basically suppressed her economy, which threw everything off, right? And doing that, it made everybody basically close their business because they didn't make it advantageous for you to open up a business. Didn't make it advantageous for you to work your butt off because 60% of it was going to go into the cofferdams of the government. So forget it. Why am I even going to try? Right, especially to open up a business. So then the employee market basically, or the business side of the market basically, I didn't want to go into it. Basically, she screwed up and she said, I'm done, I'm out, peace. Right? When they decided, yeah, that was it. And the short of it is this, is that when then she goes through and the banks come to her and say, look, y'all got to stop lowering rates. It's jacking us up. Or excuse me, rates, not lowering rates, but raising rates. Right, like it's messing us all up. Then so she does quantitative easing again, and then that drops the market, or that drops the pound dollar, which totally destroys her, not credibility, but destroys her world ability to be able to go in and keep trade agreements with the rest of the world and the economies. So you have this huge conglomerate effed up situation that happens, right? So she comes in and she's not, what is she going to do? She can't go back on her word and allow crypto. So she turns to the guy and goes, you're the man. He steps in, and what's he doing? Dude, he's setting up a CBC. Now, he's trying to push it. They're still in the research phase, right? But why am I forgetting his name? Come on. What's his name? The new prime minister.
Oh, the new prime minister.
Roshi Singh.
Yes. But what's his last name? I want to be careful when I don't like calling those guys. Show respect. What's his last name?
Sunak.
Sunak.
Rishi
Yeah,
Sunak.
yeah. Sunak. So I was about to look it up. So Sunak is sitting there going through, and what's the first thing he's going to do? He's going to allow income to come into his country that he'll be able to tax. He'll probably lower taxes, which would be smart for him. He'll become liked by the people, and then because he's got to balance that crazy side out, right? That liberal side of pushing certain things. So he's got to go through and push things into a balanced level. So I think that's what we're seeing right there, right? Unless I'm wrong. Okay, go ahead. Now that I've explained all that, talk about how him going through setting up crypto wallets and allowing people to have a full adoption within or not London, but the UK. And why do you think that would be something that would probably help Bitcoin or crypto move higher?
It won't help crypto move higher. It's just absolute, I think it's just gonna be crypto will move higher on its own. It's not gonna be in a government thing. It's gonna be a rebellion against. This is the rebellion against government. Like Web 2.0 was rebellion against government. Now we go Web 3.0, which is the next level of rebellion for people, because people go, you know what, we don't want to spend our money with you guys. We're tired of screwing us over. Even from the financial sense point, I've seen people now saying, how do I move my pension into crypto? That's the question that's happening now. Pensioners want to move the pension assets into crypto.
We're seeing Fidelity starting to offer crypto or Bitcoin, not assets, but the crypto exchanges to their ecosystem so that they can actually offer it to their clients. That's nuts. I mean, that's something to sit there and go. And here's the thing: the volatility of crypto is something important to pay attention to. We do not have. This is important to understand. This is a good thing. I'll point this out here real quick. All right, I'm gonna pull up the S&P 500. Oh, it doesn't show here. All right, if you were to see, you can see at every price point of the S&P 500. Okay, you can see that there are buyers and sellers at each level. Okay, so when it moves in junction with that. Okay, now that means it's liquid. It's liquid to the market. Whereas when we are trading Bitcoin is not liquid. It's not created to be liquid. You can see there's, it's sparse all over. It jumps from here to all the way down here. Now, granted, as it becomes more adopted, but right now there are banks that sit there and they are, they're paid to hit the bid or the ask button, right? The buy or the sell button based off of the needs of the market. Will that come into crypto? I don't think so. I don't think that will happen because it's a decentralized system by its nature, by Bitcoin, unless let's say CC Binance or Vitalik, or maybe even a new company like maybe Warren Buffett's new blockchain that he's building on Polygon right now will branch out and he'll go through and he'll create his own thing where he himself hits the bid and ask button and creates a liquid market. Who knows? We don't know. We're still in the infancy stage of this, but it's just something to be paying attention to as we move forward in relationship to the liquidity of the market. So as we start to flow back and forth within the markets in itself, right? When we see maybe a mass adoption, I still think that we will have these major rally ups where we have 100% in a day, 200% in a day, right? Overnight or even overnight, right? And then a crash because of the illiquid aspect of the market.
Yeah.
I think that's just something to be mindful of as we move forward. I don't know. It's my view how I see the world right now, and it does change often as more information I keep acquiring and going. Holy crap! And listen, I'm not a financial expert. As you all see, I have this here. No financial advice. The information provided in this video, it says all my guests, everybody that comes on in regards to Moonrock, Ninja Lounge, co-hosts, and guests, do not recommend that. Pardon me, guys. Oh, I should put that at your cross. It's amazing how these scam callers can get past that. Just amazing. Anyways, here we are. Give me 1 second. So the short of it is this. The market right now, it's moving up. Look at Bitcoin. It's rallying. So we came down, sold off from yesterday's move, right? Came down. We had I believe there was a report today, which we did see a push up. Give me 1 second. What was the American report? Also, Canadian report, right? Was it? Didn't you guys have a major financial report that happened today? Yeah, consumer. I thought you guys did, or is that tomorrow that you guys are coming out with? I forget what it was. Maybe it was Wednesday. Then I could be wrong. But we did have the consumer report happen, which we're seeing a nice little rally from here. So we're seeing that push up. So obviously it was better than expected than what it was supposed to be. We're seeing it rally up. I did not go back and look at it. I just traded it. We were putting in some nice little buyer wicks here. So I said, let's wait until we see a continuation. This to me is a setup for myself. Us being above the moving average, the 5-minute was screaming to me that we're most likely going to go up because we were trading off of that 8-period moving average at this moment. So it was a nice little setup for myself. So small risk, big reward. So
Always.
yeah, always, right? Like always, small risk, big reward. So real quick, what are your guys' thoughts on Bitcoin, and what do you think your price predictions are here?
Mine is between 9.5 and 4.5.
9.5 and 4.5. Okay. All right. So you're saying about right here. We'll see it. We'll see a turnaround at these levels here.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what's up. I'll play. I agree with that. I should have put that in. I should have put that there myself. I agree with that. I should have marked that up. Where is this at? What? Tell me, JR. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin?
So, what are we talking like today? Are we talking like this week? Like
today? We'll primarily talk today.
Okay, today. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we'll push up probably to around 1970. There's a lot of orders there. Now what'll happen is these orders will get picked up. There'll be a little bit of a drop. I'd say probably to like it'll probably drop like 100 or so dollars. So drop like 19,970 to like 19,870 or so, right? Now it'll either happen after that. Now, obviously, these are the two possibilities: is either A, it'll push through the $20,000 price point because that's a huge resistance or support, depending on which side of it we're on. But this point's a huge resistance. But I don't think it's going to push through that yet. Or the other option is it pushes back down to, and now the next big support is around 18,870 or so. That's where I'm seeing the next big support. Like, now, obviously there's smaller supports there, but that's where I'm seeing it push to today, or maybe not necessarily today, but in the coming days, it's gonna drop down towards that level.
Okay, I'm bullish for this week, primarily myself, just because we went down in the first of the week right here. Right, Monday we did come down here. We put in this nice little buyer wick here. So for me, that indicates that they want to push it up for the week. So I think we actually might get up to these upper levels here, realistically, simply because of their little trickery that they do. we'll see as we move up where this weekly 20 period moving average comes down into. If we see it come down into these levels here, as we move forward, then I do see them turning it around the 20, in between the 25 to 9 area, this upper level, to the 23 or 20,300 mark area, simply based off that weekly moving average as we see it moving. Then if we do hit that, if we hit this within, because you can see we already have hit this and we put in lower lows every time. So when I see that indication, this is just them messing with, and this is the point I want to point out. We're not seeing major buyers step in here. So it all indicates if I start to see some major buyers and I see an engulfing volume candle that kicks in above here or even above here, right? To me, that's going to indicate they're going to continue higher and probably push to this 20. But we're not seeing that. I mean, it is Tuesday, right? So this is important. And we barely maybe at 10% of the trading part of this. So this is where I look at it going, I'm bullish until it turns bearish. That's my point. Non-decisive. My job is to follow the trend. I don't gauge where it's fully going to turn around. My job is follow the trend. If the trend is moving up, what do? You go long. If the trend is down, what do?
Short it, my friend. Short it.
Short it. The big short, right? But be paying attention. We're not, during the smaller time frame, we're not putting in any major seller wicks, and we're not really putting any buyer wicks, as you can see, as we're moving up. So we do have this exhaustion candle stepping in right now. Will they allow this to be a sell-off? I don't know, but
that's what I'm waiting to see what happens at the 20,000 level. But that'll be the decisive candle, whichever happens at that level.
I was listening to Kevin Leary, and he was talking about the institutions and stuff. And basically, by the way, nice kitty, man.
He just wants attention, so it's food time right now. So I do need to go in a bit. Yeah,
it's all good. Let's finish up this cast here. So you can see here, guys, that we're basically hitting this area here. We'll find out right here. Kevin Leary says the institutions will not allow it to go above 22,000, simply because they want to make sure, they want to wait until the markets have real governance by the U.S. So they're going to keep it between the 20 to the 22 area.
gonna give it. Oh my god!
That's
The
Kevin
thing
Leary.
the thing is, they can't. Right, like just so everyone knows, right? The whole point of they can manipulate with money, but obviously the people that are gonna make money is the ones that have been in crypto early, right? And what they're gonna do is, they try and manipulate. If they say they're keeping at 20,000, the big early Bitcoin investors will make a ton of money, and then they're gonna pump it on purpose to a certain aspect. There's actually in cold wallets right now there is $1.6 trillion. They didn't disappear because it never came out of the market in the first place.
1.6 trillion of Bitcoin.
You stablecoin, not Bitcoin.
Okay, stablecoin. All right. I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. And that's important as we look at, and this is important to understand, right? The idea of stablecoins and how they work and certain things. Do you have the source for that? Because I would love to read through that source for that. I really would.
Let me find that. But it's a tracer. You can do a tracer.
And to point that out, right? Like, because this is one of the things I always look at, right? When we look at side cash, waiting for the markets, right? That's the key. How much money is on the side that's waiting to actually get into the markets, right? That's sitting in cash. We have the ability to be able to pull money from brokerages or from see what's sitting in BUSD, cold hard cash wallets, right? And you can see here that the market cap, air quote, what we're sitting at within crypto, and this supposedly includes USDT, BUSD, right? All the major stable coins, right? We see right here within CoinMarketCap. And we see here, and a lot of people use this as an analysis. We have 950 billion dollars as a market cap. But the overall amount of money that is actually within crypto is probably maybe, I would say maybe 2 trillion, just because of everything that's actually going in, all the amount of money is actually inside projects that are not even on here, right? Like we know that and I rather bring this hexagons, right? The hexagons will tell you, like, dude, their market cap.
Are you a
is-
Mexican?
No, I'm not a Mexican. I am Mexican, but I'm not a Mexican.
But you gotta understand that the money didn't come out of the market. Remember that.
Yes.
It never came out of the
USD.
market in itself. It
Yeah,
never
it's just
came in
sitting in
USD. It never
cash.
came in cash. Or so
No. It's sitting and it's sitting in crypto cash. That's where it's sitting. It's sitting
yes.
crypto cash. And I don't mean crypto cash as in the actual moniker, the actual coin. I'm talking all the stable coins. It's sitting in stable coins. That's where waiting for an actual just waiting.
People
Right?
are just waiting. They've diversified the market, right? They've come out. They're waiting now, and obviously USDC, USDT. It's not considered as its own crypto because it's not. Well, it's not a tradable asset. It is if you know if it's going down and you're actually trading currencies, but it's not a tradable asset. Hex, for example. What the hell is Hex?
So
What does it do?
All right, so go ahead if you want to say.
Anyway,
JP,
so
maybe say something. All right,
so
I'll just
one.
say. Oh, go ahead, brother. Go. Whatever you're gonna say. Go.
So I'm going to finish anyway because I do need to go and prepare for an AMA. But essentially, what people don't realize that crypto is here to stay in general, and two, there is a sense of manipulation of the average Joe. So we need to be very, very careful on, where our assets are and how we control them and who is controlling these assets. Because if you follow out who's controlling the assets, then you're more likely to predict what's going to happen.
Agreed. I do agree with that 100%. I also think, okay, before you do go, I want you to tell people where they can find you, check you out. Thanks for coming on today. I will keep bothering you to have you come through. It was
That's
fun
all right.
having you. But talk to us. Where can they find you? Tell me the project that you're a part of, and what you're doing.
Right, we're a lounge. So basically, what we do is we interview new projects, old projects. Essentially, we've got Tron coming in this week for an AMA on Thursday. So we try and bring some big projects here and there. We're gonna bring Shiba, hopefully, if we can, some of the Shiba devs. So the thing, what we do is we try and educate people by bringing these big projects in to see what they're doing. Then at the same time, we bring projects that are just launching or up and coming or have just launched, and we kind of interview them, question them, and get a feel of what's out there. So whilst we do that, education is a main part. Obviously, we do generate the revenue because we need to keep the lounge operational. But people do get a sense of what to invest and what to not invest in, right? Because the questions we asked is essentially based on startups, and I've been leading and growing startups since 2016. So I've got a really good experience in generating new businesses and growing new businesses. So essentially what we do is really just look at the market and education. We throw charts in, we kind of do a bit of prediction here and there, obviously not financial advice, just give you a flow of what's happening. So yeah, if you do want to come in Telegram, search at the Midnight Show, and then you can join us.
Give me your moniker so that I can put it into the actual system here. Give me 1 second.
I can give you
Send it to me and put it in the like the group comments. You'll see that there's already, it's like you see where it says private chat. Just send it there and I can.
Yeah, I'll give you this.
Yeah.
Let me get the link so you guys can.
Can you confirm in Telegram that that's you? I just sent you a message.
No, I know it's him. Positive.
There you go. Just send the link on private chat for you guys. That's at the midnight show, and we have Twitter as well, but we primarily just work on Telegram because it's easier for users to reach us.
It's where the market is, man. I tell everybody, if you're going to become a stockbroker, where do you go? New York. If you want to become an actor, where do you go? LA, right? Listen, if you want to become a farmer, where do you go? Or like, you go to the Midwest. Exactly.
in the field, my friend. In the field.
Fields, right? Like, what do you know? If you want to go to where crypto's at, you go to the marketplace, which is Telegram. At least as of right now, it might even become, in 10 years, we'll be doing the show. Go, remember when we used to go to Telegram, right?
Oh yeah, I talk about that all the time.
Yeah, it'll be like it was like the new old when the internet first came out. Everybody used SMM, right? Where they'd be talking, or you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, JR. But we'd all go in there. It came down. You're able to talk to people around the world. It was amazing. And then MySpace came out, and you're like, what? So it's just. It's It's
I don't think JR understand what MySpace was.
I know all about MySpace.
Too young for MySpace, man. Too young.
No, I wasn't alive during that, but I do know all about that.
I assure you were swimming somewhere, but I'm not gonna say anymore.
You were twinkling somebody's eyes.
Oh, man. I don't know if I was that yet.
Give me 1 second. We're gonna be able to come check out Midnight with Tron and Shiba Inu. Hey, if we could get Shiba Inu on here with us, that would be great. If we could get Tron on with us, hear what they're doing, what they're talking about, that would be dope too. But I'm not going to throw it out. With me, obviously, it's going to be free, right? I know that you need to bring in some cash, but yeah, love to have that. Let's hear what they're doing. So Shiba.
Awesome.
One last question before you go. Give us a word of advice that you would tell your children.
Be patient and listen. That's it.
There you go, guys. You heard from him. Keep your mouth shut and your eyes open, as one of my foster fathers used to tell me. So
that's it. Just listen. You gotta listen because sometimes you could miss the opportunity of your lifetime. If you don't listen, you gotta be a getter. And a lot of people getting is harder than listening.
I like that. I like that. It's better to listen than to be a getter. And a getter is like a hustler, right?
Yeah, you have to hustle your way through life, and then that's very difficult. I'm more of a getter because I like to do my own research and I don't kind of a free spirit. So essentially, I've learned from my past. I'm trying to be more hybrid, listener at the same time, but it's very hard to step out of your nature. So, that's the advice I give to anyone that's actually trying to do something. Even though I do run multiple businesses, it's still very difficult because when my advisors are telling me something, it's like, I really want to listen to you, I'm paying for it, but it don't make sense. That's the question. It just doesn't fall in line with the way I think.
The way you see the world.
Yeah.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says, a war is won with many advisors, with much counsel. And I think it's important. That's why I always ask, what are your guys' thoughts? Right? I have a loud voice. I have a strong voice. So that I get that. Like, people almost can get swayed by my thoughts. Right? Oh, right. So that's why I'm like, no. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your perspective. It is with a multitude of counsel that a person has the ability to grow and wage war well. So, oh snaps, yeah. DYOR might be coming in too as well. So, shoot, if they come through, it's all good if they can. Listen, Midnight, I don't want to
Bye,
keep you
guys.
longer, but thank you so much for coming in, man. And
Have a good one, guys. Peace out. I've got an AMA in 13 minutes. I do need to prepare for that, but thank you for having me. And yeah, like if anyone's got any questions, I'll probably get Pedro to do some chart analysis in TMS, so you can
yes.
you know you work with us. So the vision is to work together and conquer the world peacefully.
Yes. I love it.
Right. So
All right,
have a
my
good
brother.
one.
I'll talk to you soon.
Peace out,
All right,
guys.
peace out.
Bye bye.
A great guy. I like Midnight. Somebody actually told me about him the other day. It was like, you need to go check this guy out, and I was like, I'll go check him out, see what he's about. And so I jumped in there, and we just had about a 3-hour conversation about likes, dislikes, crypto, everything, and their mother too. So it was real good. It was real good. It was a lot of fun. And so his lounge, he's one of the OG lounges. Been around for like 2.5, 3 years, which is in crypto it's an eternity. 6 months is an eternity in crypto. So I would equate 6 months to a year is like 10 years in the traditional finance world. 10 to 20 years, just because you can, look at Bitcoin. Right? Look at Bitcoin. 6 months, right? Boom, look right here. So it's a pretty crazy thing to be looking at. All right, guys. So we also probably will have DYOR here come in. Can't join today. Striking. That stinks. It's all good, my brother. It's all good. So let's go into the charts here real quick, and we can finish it off there. Oh, one last little thing real quick. Also, Marshmallow, you want to talk about a little bit what's going on with Twitter, my friend? And what's kind of been going on with that? Love to hear your thoughts.
All I heard is that they're trying they're trying to create their new wallet, their new crypto wallet, which actually I think is actually really good because it's going to bring a lot more money into the crypto space. That's my thoughts on it. I don't know, but like,
no,
I think it's a good move. Like a lot of people use Twitter, and because aren't we down right now? Pretty much a lot.
A lot.
So like.
Yeah.
I think this could bring a lot of new cash flow into crypto in general.
Absolutely. I think you're very right. The biggest thing is this, right? As we keep moving forward within crypto, right? There's going to be institutional adoption as we move forward. So like Twitter is a major institution when it comes to just news flow, right? Like I get my news from Twitter. I'm able to get it from around the world, from different types of people, from different voices, whether like, one thing I love about it is there was some stuff going on in Israel, right? So I wanted to know. So I jumped in to Twitter and also into Telegram, right? And then I also jumped on to another cool app that I like to use. It's called Stereo, right? And I basically just said, looking for people in Israel, looking for people in Australia, right? And I jumped on to Twitter real quick, and Twitter news. And it was really interesting to be able to get really some diverse comments going on, what was going on, especially with what was going on in Afghanistan. I believe it was Afghanistan with the women's right. No, excuse me, not Afghanistan. It was Iran, right? With what was going on with the women's rights and how like they were just flipping out and just pissed off and just done with the whole entire like suppression of them with the hijab and everything that was going on with that. So I jumped on and I was able to garner. So yeah, I love Twitter, man. And I think to bring in, it's another way for people to use Twitter and actually be able to make money, right? Like I can sit there, create a wallet within Twitter, right? And then be able to exchange fees or i.e. jump on it, create our own show while I'm on it, right? Like right now, we're on Twitter right now as we speak. You guys are on my Twitter page, right? And so I'm live streaming right now as we speak. So if somebody wants to love my stuff and say, yo, I love your stuff, dude, I'm going to send you Twitter coin. Thank you. I'll be like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Right? Like, boom. So it's some of those things that I love. And the fact is that Twitter is creating something that's going to, again, bring more adoption from a global level and just make it easier. I can't go wrong with that, right? I won't, that's just the no-brainer. Thank you, Twitter. Thank you, Elon. Right. So, yep, I agree. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that, Marshmallow. That was good. I was going to bring that up, and then I just forgot because I got engulfed in conversation.
Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, like I just remember Twitter and everybody else being so against crypto and everything, and now they're all adopting it. Like,
Yeah, that's how it is, right? I think there's always a false narrative that they're always preaching.
Yeah.
And it's important to understand that is the point of it all, is that if they want to go one way, they're going to preach another way. And it's a part of their makeup because they have to. They have to because they're always starved for orders. The institutions are always starved for orders. And so if they're going to get a certain direction to go into a certain direction, they have to preach a false narrative to bring in the masses to follow that false narrative. And then they do the opposite and then preach the true narrative or another false narrative to play off of that. It's a bucket of lies that they play off of. And if you don't believe me, check out, and I've done this a number of times. Okay, Jim Cramer, The Streets. Then type in market manipulation. And in doing that, you'll see a video that pops up with a organization called The Streets. And it's his conversation back in 2006, okay, about what they do with the market. He was a Goldman Sachs hedge fund manager. And that group called The Streets was a group of guys who were in the industry creating a way for them to communicate and talk. It was a show only for hedge fund managers. And it happened to get leaked of this interview that Jim Cramer did. Fast Money, Mad Money, before he transitioned from Goldman Sachs into Fast Money, he leaked all these just things that are wrong. And they've taken it down from the internet a number of times, but it always populates to come back on, right? So thank God for smart people who have that on their system secured. So I probably should download that one day so I can always have it. So yeah. Anyhow, let's talk about the markets here, guys. So Bitcoin here, as we see here, like I've talked about earlier, we gave our price predictions. From the downside here, as I'm looking, we do see a sell-off. I do see a sell-off back down to the 18,900 mark area here, just because we do have a pretty decent buy wick right down here. So that's why I think we could play off this area. Ethereum, it's very interesting Ethereum come into these plays simply because they are rallying and they actually have a pretty decent amount of volume coming in. So that's why I was like, this is really, really interesting for myself to see what's actually going on. We did blow through our this zone here that had been hit a couple of times. I thought it would probably hold up, but it has been used a few times now. And we're pulling through this monthly zone that I have here. So we'll see if we continue and then see this become resistance. From a weekly level, as I'm looking at it, we have the 200 period moving average sitting in right here. And then on a monthly level, we still have the moving averages sitting all the way up here. So we could definitely see another turnaround here. What are your thoughts, JR?
Like I said, I don't really trade Ethereum that much, but for my analysis, let's see, actually, let me pull it up real quick before I say anything. I could see Ethereum going up a little bit. And when I say a little bit, probably I'd say around to $1,500. No, that's only like 85 of where we are now. But I think it'll push down again right after it does that. And the reason I think that is because there is a pretty sizable void on the weekly time frame that needs to get fulfilled. Now, it could go through it. Like it could just push through the void up to the zone around 1700. But
real quick,
I'm not sure how likely that is. Yeah,
let me explain what the void is. No, you're good. So the void is in its trading status is basically where the market had so many orders that it started skipping numbers, meaning it jumped from, so you started a sell-off at, let's say, 1766, and then you saw a bunch of sellers step in. And then people freaked out, and they just started selling, and there weren't enough buyers to meet their level. So there is a void where it went from, let's say, 1766 all the way down to, let's say, 1662. Now that big of a void wouldn't happen in Ethereum because that's a big price movement. But what he's saying though is we have a big void of a big sell.
No, sorry, it's down. Actually, it's down more than that. It's from 1489 down to 1415. It's that space between the wicks on that candle. That's what I classify as the void.
Okay, got it right here. Oh, right here.
So yeah, so I think that's going to get filled. In order for it to get filled, at least half of it has to get like filled. So at least half of it. I'd consider that as a filled void. Now, could it go past that? Totally, but I can't really foresee that happening because there's been a lot of selling wicks like a little bit lower. So I think there'll be like one more push down before it really pushes back up.
So
but like,
so when you say selling wicks, you mean buying wicks down here, correct? This is the buyer wicks are, it's regardless of the color. The buyer wicks is that sellers sold it off and then buyers stepped in. So you're saying down in this level. Yeah, no worries. That's all good.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that people understand so they understand what we're talking about. Yeah, and I don't talk much about the void simply because most people don't understand it. And it's so foreign to them but I know exactly.
Yeah, it's a foreign concept.
So I want you to, and I love it that you're talking about it so that I can start to communicate about the gaps and price movement in that aspect as well. Yeah, so I see that. Marshmallow, I know you're there. If you have any views or thoughts, man, it's all good. Just shoot them off if you want. If not, it's all good, my friend. I'll be right back. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, I agree. Now, BNB, as I'm looking at BNB, it is starting to take off a little, which is actually pretty dope. We're seeing some major volume step in from this week, from last week, so which has been pretty nice in comparison. Or excuse me, that's not the truth. I'm thinking of Matic. You can see here that we actually don't have a lot of volume step in comparison to last week, but we're seeing it rally up into these levels. I wonder who's actually buying this. So for myself, when I'm looking at, this is an area here that if we are going to see BNB, we'll see BNB again as it rallies from these levels to come up and hit that 307 to 301 area with a moving average up into this level as we're playing. So it's something that's going to be really interesting to see as we keep moving forward. We had a pretty decent sell-off over into the month, and now we're showing green here. It's a pretty big buys here. I'm pretty bullish though on a monthly chart simply based off of these big buyer wicks. What are your thoughts on BNB, my friend? I'm going to get you to start branching out outside of Bitcoin.
Oh, who, me? Oh no, I love BNB. I'm actually I don't hold any, but I hold assets on the BNB chain, so I guess indirectly I hold it. Yeah. Now obviously the project I'm a part of is on BNB, but I'm always bullish on it.
I would agree.
Now, when I say always bullish, I mean like in the long run, it's going to, it's gonna be big because of the fact that they made it. I feel like BNB was the first blockchain that really got it right as far as the public adoption, because like Bitcoin, nobody does anything with Bitcoin. And then as far Lightning Network, but nobody does anything on, like, people use it for payments, and that's about as far as Bitcoin is used. Ethereum's great and all, but up until the merge, the gas fees were ridiculous. Like, people were paying $50 for like a $200 transaction. That's a quarter of the transaction we're losing to gas fees. That's absurd. So I feel like BNB with the it's always been like 50 cents or so. Obviously when the value of BNB was lower.
Right.
the gas fees were lower as well. I didn't get into it, unfortunately, until it skyrocketed. I think I got in maybe the first time I hit $300 back in April of 2021. And it obviously it hit almost $700, and actually it did hit 700, I think. But yeah, super bullish on it always. But as far as lower time frame, I always like to look at it to see whether I should be holding on to it or not. Obviously, I'm trading Bitcoin pretty heavily right now, which is why I don't really have any money in Binance right now. But if that wasn't a factor, I'd say I'd probably say if you are holding on to it because of all the huge, because of the huge daily wick, daily candle, I mean, and because of that wick from was that last week or the week before?
These two right here.
I'd say we're probably about getting close to where I would start to sell some of it off for the short term, and then probably just start transferring it to like either BUSD or USDC or USDT, depending on what your preferred stable coin is, just because it is going up very rapidly. And that's something, when something goes up very quickly, obviously what goes up must come down. And that's just how I see assets in general. But obviously for like CZ, right, who holds what billions and billions of this stuff, he can't afford to do that. Otherwise it'd crash it every time. So
he's a long holder too. He doesn't. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like people who are holding a large amount, like if I was to give a whale advice of what to do with all that BNB, I'd say, maybe if you want to sell like a couple percent of it off, but like to make a little profit. But honestly, if you look at the grand scheme of things, this move isn't really that big. I mean, if you look on even the daily, like we're in like this, I guess this channel, not a channel, we're like kind of just consolidation. We're in consolidation. So usually, especially since we were bullish going into the consolidation, maybe we'll go down and retest the previous consolidation, like around 200 to 250, but even if it does that, what is it probably going to do after that? It's probably going to go up. So that's if you're holding on to it, I'd say just keep holding on to it if you are into trading it. Because
and I would agree with you in that aspect simply because like BNB within itself, right, is ran by CZ. The sellout that we saw with the actual they were hacked, and when he saw a $10 sell-off, right, which I thought we were going to see at least a 1%, and it was a 0.5%, and I was shocked to see it barely move. I was just like, meh. I was all sad. I was like, why did it sell off? Because I wanted to like short it. But the key is that it held because I think the leadership of CZ, how he shut things down, how he handled the whole entire setup. He's got a good management system. Who the people are below. He actually came on and typed in and said, listen, I woke up and I saw it was happening. It was my managers who handled everything. So he's obviously doing something right. Who he's hiring, how they're hiring things, and decisions that they're making is smart. And so that shows in his leadership skills. So respect to you, good sir. So next, let's move into XRP. XRP is been
that's one thing I'll let you talk about because I'm not really big on XRP, but I know everybody has different views about that.
Talk about your views, man. I've had people come on here.
I don't.
Go ahead.
I just the biggest thing about XRP is obviously tied to USD, is United States dollar tether, and the reason being is because like they never to this day, as far as I'm aware, obviously things can change, but as far as I'm aware, the tether has never actually what actually defines tether as being a dollar, and they never really disclosed it, right? And that's the biggest that's the main reason you will never see me holding tether in my wallet, because I really don't, until they basically say, hey, this is what backs Tether, right? As far as assets, right? I like
Right.
assets backing things, right? Which is why I don't really like USDT. It's my least favorite stable coin as of this moment. I just don't. I'm not a big on algorithm based stable coins. I like when there's actual assets tied to it, which is why I like USD Circle and BUSD, because they both have actual bank accounts where if there was a bank run, they wouldn't go under. Whereas if USDT had a bank run, it would probably look something similar to what happened with Terra Luna. And that's why I'm not really big on it, because if all of a sudden people were like, hey, this isn't actually worth $1, then it would get depegged. And whereas if everybody is like, hey, BUSD or USD Circle is no longer worth $1, then those would stay $1, even if everybody, like if every single person sold, it would still be worth $1, because that's just how those were built. And that's why I've always been a big fan of those assets. Though the obvious drawback to those, because I gotta play devil's advocate here and say why people would want to buy into these algorithm based stable coins is, well, if you're holding on to all this money in assets, right, you have to keep it liquid. That's less money that you can play with, right, as a company, right? So that's less money you can put to trade or do all sorts of different various things with, right? You can't stake it, you can't trade it, because if you trade it, it's no longer, maybe it becomes like, it's not that it becomes not liquid, it just becomes less liquid. It becomes harder to turn it back into the dollar. And then the other thing is when you're holding, let's say they're holding straight up dollars in their bank account, right? Because these two big, because USD Circle is obviously ran by Coinbase, which is based in I believe is based in like Singapore or something like that. But it's a regulated company. But like both USD Circle, like both Coinbase and Binance are actual like companies that are like, they operate in the US. And so like, where was I going with this? But yeah, so like, hold on, give me a second. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
So ultimately, like when I look at the chart, right, like I'm looking to trade it, right? Like when it comes to certain points, I want to be
yes.
That's I'm not thinking long-term holding here, right? Like here, I don't ever advise anybody to long-term hold if an asset is going down. I'm a huge proponent in taking profit, right? Take your profit, make sure that you have a move back if you're looking to do that, right? So I would sit there and I would say right now, right, we have some major on a monthly chart. We have an 8-period moving average sitting right here, holding resistance, as well as that 50-period moving average sitting right here, right? So as a trading standpoint, right, we're also playing off of that 8-period moving average here, but we're seeing volume starting to decrease here, which means we could see a drop off here, at least down to our lower levels here, down at that 38 or 38, 37 mark, right? On top of that, this is a weekly chart here. So it's something that is, that's a good thing, right? Like I can see a nice little sell off and then see it rally. So putting it in this higher low here and then continuing up through these moving averages by the end of the month would be something that'd be really interesting to see, right? It would be a lower high, but we'd also have a true lower low here, right? Right here, we did have a lower low, right? But it wasn't really a true higher high. So here we're having a higher high with a higher low, which would bring in more buyers, right, from a technical standpoint. So
yes,
that's more. And then on top of that, we have the void that we can slide down to from here all the way down to here, where we have support coming in. So for myself, right, when I'm looking at this, I'm going, well, how far will it go? well, we have a junctional turning point, which is the 50-period moving average as we keep moving up. So can it come down to the 50-period moving average and stop? It could, very much could, and we can see it rally back up even higher. But I think there's more orders down in this level. That's really where we'll see a bunch of buyers. So I think institutions would want to see the sell off, load up again, and push it back up. That's my view. From a technical standpoint, as the void and how you look at things, how would you sit there and want to trade this?
Sorry, what was that?
How would you
Last part?
how would you trade this from a technical standpoint, the way you see it?
From a technical standpoint, let me just try to figure that out. Yes, I was literally sorry. I got distracted. For anybody who's watching, I was just watching as markets are just going crazy right now. Like literally the last like minute or two, like things are going crazy all of a sudden. This is crazy.
So you're looking to get into Bitcoin as we're moving, as it's pushing.
No, I was actually looking. If I would have been watching it and would have gotten in, actually my sell would have gotten wrecked immediately. Like it pushed right through. It pushed right through the 20,000 level. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But here XRP, right? So weekly. Okay. From a technical standpoint, I mean, obviously, I see my analysis on this is bearish, like at least for now, because we have this lower low. Now it's very close, so I guess you could either say, oh, it's a lower low, or it could just be like, oh, it's consolidating. It either way, it really doesn't matter, honestly, because in either market, you have to go between the levels that are being set up, which in this case, I feel like those levels are between somewhere around like 0.4, like so 43.5 cents. And I feel like that's like the lower support, and I feel like the higher support somewhere around like 50.7 cents or so. Like it's just, if it could go between those two a few times. So right now I wouldn't even be looking for an entry. I would actually be waiting till it, because if you would have been trading it that way, you could have actually gotten in. What was that, last night? You could have gotten in for a buy last night and traded this up, and then so if I was to take that trade, obviously I would trade it up probably to the neutral point, which would probably be around 49 cents or so.
It would have been a nice little trade from the open here, like we can see.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
We were trading, so from the 6:30 open, you can see that we were trading off of the 8 and 20 moving average, right? So it would have been a nice little trade from here.
There's this term, I don't know if people are familiar with it, because it's very it's one of those terms with, like, I feel like most people don't know about it. And that's the neutral point. And I feel like when I said the neutral point, that's like where you typically want to set your TP. I feel like the definition for anybody who doesn't know is neutral point's like the ideal spot between risk and reward. Risk and profitability. So basically what I mean by that is there's a point, right? So there's two things that you want to keep in mind anytime you're taking profit on a trade, and that's, are you going for risk to reward, like a higher risk to reward, or are you going for a higher win rate? And the neutral point is the point where those two cross, right? If you're looking at like two, so as your risk to reward goes up, you're typically speaking anyway, your trading accuracy goes down. You know, so that's why there's like this neutral point between the two. And I feel like that neutral point would be somewhere around 48, 49 cents, because that seems to be like where price likes to, like that's like the middle point in this consolidation. At least that's what I see.
I can see that, yeah. I can definitely see that. Well, the biggest thing is as you know, as a trader, we want to catch. You know, I'm a trend trader, so for me, always looking just to capture the trade, right? Basically, find a small area where I can place my risk. So, for example, at the open, right, I'm looking to be able to place my stop. I would be looking to go longer because we're above the majority of the moving average on my 5 minute.
Yeah, I wish I'd have hit that buy. That'd have been awesome.
Right. So this is what I would do. Right. I'd come to a smaller time frame, 10, 15-minute time frame. And I go, okay, where are we sitting right now? Oh, here's the open. Okay, we're above the moving averages. We're wanting to trend up.
All right.
look,
So
where is
with your moving averages, how would you have taken the trade?
Well, I'm not going to go into that because it's my personal stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That's
okay.
all. Yeah.
It's all right. But, you know,
Yeah.
I've told people if they want to find me, if you want to learn how to do stuff that I do, go to Easy Money 2050 on Twitter. He's my coach. He works with me. He helps me out. If you want to go check him out, he'll help you. I don't tell his style because I gave him my word I wouldn't. So
I respect that.
yeah, but what I will do though is I will say that right here we had a gap here. We saw the rally up and a gap, and we all know when we see a gap, there are a bunch of buyers, whether if it's a gap down or a gap up. Oh, this dude, man, I'm a lucky user. Every day this guy comes in, he puts in the 18, whatever. Anyways. All right. So because we have that gap area right there from this level of 45 cents here to the 45,174, I knew that market would probably come back down, try to retest this area. In addition to that, that would be a catalyst in conjunction with a movement up as we're starting to trend off of that 8-period moving average, and it's lining up with my 5 minute. We don't really have any major resistance level at these levels here until we get up to here, and I at least have a 3-to-1 ratio from here to here to play off of that. So that was a fun level to be able to play off of and go, oh, okay, we're gapping up. Let's see if we see a retracement. Oh, wait, we're already trending. Oh, shoot. Bink. Boop. So it's something that I would be looking at as my trade as I move forward. The biggest thing is this, though, and I want to bring this up. This is really important, is that I use the higher time frame SMAs always as we're moving. So you can sit here and see that we were playing off of that higher time frame zone on that daily when it came to the S&P, or when it came to XRP's 8-period moving average. Okay, and so that we'll always find support around that area as we're moving forward. So you can see here. Oh wow, it's in the same area. It's in the same. Sorry, where is it at? Here we are. It's in the same area where we had our moving average sitting there on the daily. So it's going to find support there.
Yeah.
So what I do is I do, you know, I bring those all together because I never want to stay monolithic. I never want to sit on 1 or 2 time frames. I want to check all the time frames every time to see, oh, I've got support here. I've got support here. I've got support here. I've got resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. So I know where and how far it's most likely going to run. And if I get a runner, great. You know, that's 20% of my position now going long, right? But I always get my ducats. I get my void area, right? And my void area is basically the 3-to-1, a 4-to-1 ratio of my risk. So that's always what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for buyers to step in, see how things are moving. So that's, to me, is what I always look at and check out. So, but yes, that in a nutshell. So that is XRP. Let's check out Solana here real quick, guys. Solana has been a beast. I wish I was in this one. Obviously, I picked wrong. But look, this baby has been pushing up, and they are no joke. So I know there must have been some big news in regards to this. When it comes down to the higher time frames, we are hitting this turn junctional point right here, which is basically where the 8-period moving average is sitting. So like I said, guys, We're hitting this area of some resistance here. We are playing off of this, and we are finding resistance at this level. How far will we go down? Well, let's find out. Like I said, this became resistance because it was previous support. Boom. So you can see here that we hit this. We have that 50 period moving average. We could see a sell-off down into either that $30.40 one, and as well as maybe even the 29 area here. These are, if we do see a sell-off, these would be the areas that I'd be looking to see, because this would cause a higher low here that we would see. Now, please, JR, real quick, jump in everything. I gotta go use the facilities real quick, and I will be back.
I was actually about to be hopping off, to be honest, because I've been on here in a while and I haven't really eaten lunch yet.
Oh, that's all right. If you don't mind, talk about this, and then I'll finish up. But if you don't mind, I gotta run real quick, all right? So I will be back.
All right.
If you want to, you can also go through. Also, sorry. So if you want to, you can also go through and share your screen real quick if you want to talk about it. And I will be back in a minute. I'm gonna stop
All right.
sharing the screen. Go ahead and share your screen, and then I'll be back literally in about 5 minutes. 1 moment.
Okay. Just fixing it. I'm just send this up real quick. All right. All right. So, all right, sir. Share screen. Present. Okay, there we go. Share screen. See the set. I don't know if you guys can. Yeah, I'll just do this. Let's present this. Just do my entire screen. There we go. Sorry, I got a lot of notifications, so apologize for that. This is Solana. He's talking about how we don't know how far exactly this is going to push up. Now, obviously, I feel like there's few big things to really keep in mind with Solana. You got to think about it this way. Solana honestly really started because of the NFTs, and the NFT. Obviously, NFTs are a very high volatile market, and the reason for that is because they're still fairly new. Now, bare bones NFTs are just another type of smart contract. But because of the new technology, they're going to be the most they're going to be very high volatile markets. So Solana, obviously, because of it being such a big deal with the NFTs, isn't going to be doing great right now, which if you look on the monthly, obviously it's not doing too well. It's just grabbing all of these wicks from before, essentially. So it's touching all these wicks, and it's grabbing all these buyers that got in over here. And once they get in, you'll probably see this thing take off again, see it go back up to like 200-300. But how long that's going to take exactly is I'm not really sure. Some trades I had set up. Not really sure how I did on them, but I used to trade anything and everything, but I've gotten more disciplined with what I trade. So Solana isn't really something I look at too often. Apparently my battery's a little low. But yeah, anyway, on the weekly. Now we had this bearish flag form from a technical analysis standpoint, so obviously I had to tap it, and which this was like the retest, and it said, hey, no, we're still selling. So obviously still bearish. But anyway, it formed this little zone over here, and it's tapped it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, dropped, and then now it's retesting this zone that formed kind of right below the other zone. And the reason being is because That's just how zones form. They like to form like layered, like an onion almost. And it's basically saying, hey, are we still selling, or hey, are we done selling yet? So from the weekly standpoint, that's what I see anyway. So I'm not really sure if this thing will continue going up, or if this is just one of these like green candles that happens for a minute. But from a trader standpoint, so daily, let's look at the daily now. This thing just broke this high. Now, in order for me to say that this is really starting to turn around, this candle will have to close above this close up here. And the reason I say that is because typically when it closes below, even if it went past it, it's just a crazy wick, and then it'll just go usually the other way. But this obviously the daily candle doesn't close for another few hours, so we won't really know till the end of today whether this thing wants to go up or not. But let's see, from 4 hour, there's not really much to talk about because there's no sort of retracement. Obviously, there's this zone. It's tapped at 1, 2, 3. You can, and the reason you can tell it's a zone is because you could literally throw, literally throw a horizontal line right through this thing. It holds up, and that's when you know this thing is definitely some sort of zone. I don't have to look at the order book to tell you that. So yeah, so it's tested this thing most recently.
Hey, you're not showing your screen.
3.
Oh,
What?
that is my bad. That has been my bad. I'm so sorry. I had to use the bathroom.
Really?
So what were you saying? Go ahead.
I was just talking about how Solana, unless it closes above, like today's candle, I'd say unless it closes above 31.245, which was a close that was like the close, or sorry, that was the open on when this bear market, like this little bear, like this little drop started like last week. So unless it closes above that, I would say this is probably not ready to go back up yet. But if it does close above that, what'll happen is we'll probably see a little bit of a retracement, and then this thing will probably just kind of start taking off. That's really what I'm saying. And also my as far as analysis on what makes Solana like move is it's really backed by NFTs. I don't know why this isn't really working, but I'll just.
What you want to do is, yeah, there you go. And then what you, yeah.
That's just, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So what I'm really seeing with Solana is because it's backed by NFTs, and NFTs are super volatile because it's new technology. And until everything's really ready to start going back up, like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Ethereum's another big NFT blockchain, but Solana is literally just NFTs. As far as I'm aware, that's pretty much what it is. It's NFTs. You can the big thing about Solana. It's like, why would you want to mint on Solana instead of Ethereum, where there's more traffic? Is there's no gas fees for making NFTs on Solana, and that's why a lot of people choose it over Ethereum. But so because of that, it really kind of follows the sentiment on NFTs, and since, like I said, it's because they're the most volatile like asset really right now. Nobody wants to hold on to them when the market's like tanking like this, and that's why Solana is bearish in the long term, for now anyway, until the markets really start to turn around, and then we'll see this thing do crazy percentages, because that's just what these volatile assets do. It's nuts, but you can't really time it. So, you can't really time when the big like move up is gonna be. If you could do that, you'd throw on 50, 100 times leverage and watch that thing make you a millionaire. But that's not what we do as traders. So yeah, for the short term, I was just saying, if this thing closes above where this previous drop was, then I think we could realistically see. Solana really start to gain some bullish momentum, and that's really what I want us to see, because it's easier to trade when there's a set direction instead of it being instead of it consolidating back and forth and kind of stopping everybody out and liquidating everybody. Does that kind of like go in line with what your analysis on
Yeah.
Solana is, or?
Yeah, basically, we're probably going to see a sell-off in this area here, which was previous supply, which has now become demand. And additionally to that, seeing us find resistance here and coming back down, probably finding support on that 20 period moving average on the daily if we do. But as I look here on the 5-minute, that 47 area here doesn't show a lot of strength here. Here we go, 47. 30, 47. Give me one moment. Let me type that here again. 30. So it's going to be 30, 46. So the 30, 46 area here is right here. So I do think that because there isn't any major buyers sitting right here, this might where it might stop based off of the daily moving average. But we could also see this thing come all the way back down simply because we're seeing more seller wicks as we're moving up than buyer wicks, which means that they are putting in their shorts or stops. They're selling off position as they're moving higher. But there's no real support coming in until we get down to that 29 mark area, if not further. So if I'm looking at a smaller time frame, I'm not seeing a lot of buyers stepping in, really. Meaning a support area where I see buyer wicks until we get down to that 28, 29, 5 area, but really that 28 area on the 30-minute. If we go to the 2 hour, same thing right here is where we really do see it down at these levels. So I do see a retracement coming back down into this level here as we keep talking about it. But ultimately, the market will decide what he wants to do. But I feel like we have resistance at the level of the 32, 31 area here. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell right there. If we go and check out DOT here real quick, DOT is looking just as strong. We're seeing DOT really move. It's hitting the 50 period moving average. We did get through that weekly 8 period moving average. Oh, pardon me right here. So we're seeing it hit this area here and seeing a sell off again off of that the moving average here. Solana, or not Solana, but DOT here. We were just talking about it. And I personally thought that we were going to come back down and continue down to the 489 mark. Obviously not. It's looking like it's coming stronger. So which is, to me, I don't understand it. But again, if we jump into the higher time frames, we're not seeing a lot of defense against the sellers, which means that maybe sellers are off to the side waiting for weakness to come in and letting the buyers really push the market up, and then they step in and short the market. From a technical standpoint, how do you see this, my friend?
From a technical standpoint, for DOT, you said?
Yeah.
For like Polkadot?
Yeah, Polkadot. Yep.
Well, honestly, I don't know because I don't really trade it.
Well, just look at it from your
from my like how I trade. I'd say short term, like all right. So from what I trade, it would say to buy, but obviously looking at that, there's more factors that I'd really have to keep in mind, and that's the fact that there's a lot of resistance there, and that's why I wouldn't be able to justify buying it all, because you'd have to push through quite a lot of resistances to be able to push up, and then that's not even like worth the risk to reward at that point, because it wouldn't even go that far up before it hit at the next set of resistances. And that's why I'm like obviously you see that like big, there's that area right there, but like besides that then there's, I'd have to push through all that other liquidity in order to then push up another level. That's just why I'm like, I can't justify buying it right now, because it's just like there's just too much resistance there.
Agreed. I do agree with that. Like, and additionally to that, not just that resistance, but it's just the climb up is weak, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So the climb up is weak, and because their climb up is weak, it's just a false narrative to push the market back down. All these people are buying because they're FOMOing. And what's going to happen is they're going to sell off their positions now as these things keep moving. So it's the way that the market makers or the institutions play. They push the market up so they can drop it down. Right now, they need another. They see all this volume coming in as buying orders. Okay, these are novices buying. This isn't because institutions don't like buying when it's moving up. They like buying when the market is moving down. You know, it sounds weird until it reaches a certain equilibrium where it goes down so far where they're like, dang, this is a great price to come in. We're going to buy right here majorly. And that's typically when you see a huge sell-off and then a big buy with a lot of real buy volume. And in that day that they're doing that, you're seeing it sell off, push back up, sell off, push back up. That's typically what you see when institutions are involved. And this is just a pure push up, right? When I mean sell off, I mean buyer wicks, big buyer wicks is what we want to see, right? Something of like maybe kind of like this or boom. But they're almost they're like every other candle is what you see when you start to see that type of rally. So yeah, that's it. Let's jump here real quick into ADA. ADA, which is Cardano, is showing some major strength here, guys. Give me 1 second. Daily. Here we go. And I mean major strength. You can see here that they went from basically 35 all the way to 41 cent. But again, they're hitting our levels. Here we go. This is previous demand. It's now become resistance. So I definitely look at this as more of an indication that this is probably going to be a sell-off, primarily because of what we're seeing here. Previous support now becoming resistance off of that 50 period moving average. It's impressive. Just one thing I love about crypto, man, is you can catch a run and it could be a life-changing run, right? You could be at a negative, or not negative, but you could be down to your last pennies and catch a run and just be like, okay, I'm now up 400%, you know, so, or 1,000% compared to where you were. So here we go. So, but again, I don't see any buyers down at these levels, right? I didn't see a sell-off. So I don't know. To me, it seems like a rug pull here with, not a rug pull, but a turnaround position that they're going to sit in. You agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Doge
Yeah, you
is
said it. So of course you agree. Oh man.
same thing, guys. We're playing through here our demand and supply zones, as we're going to see. We're hitting higher time frame SMAs. It's pretty much the same thing. But I do have to admit here, we're seeing a ton of real volume though step in at Doge here. So Doge is looking very sexy at this level here. Like I said, I've been talking about how there's been real buying and real selling, real battling going on between here. So it's real interesting to see as we're now moving up where they're going to place and turn this around. We have that 200 period moving, or we have the 80 period moving average as we're coming into it, along with some buy or some seller wicks here. But these aren't really strong enough sellers that I'm looking at. I would say more or less this area here is really between here. Is really the area that I'm really looking at as an area of shorting. If I am going to short Doge, this would be the area because we have that 50 period moving average on the monthly here. So that's why I sit there and I'm bullish until we get up to these levels here. But it's showing strength. But also pay attention that we do have that 200, or we have that 20 period moving average on the daily here. But it's quickly turned sideways, as you guys are seeing, versus a down market. We are starting to see a turnaround within that 8 period moving average at this level here. So real interesting as we start to move. What are your thoughts on Doge, my friend?
Oh, I think it's so dumb.
You're saying it's done?
It's dumb, I
It's
think,
dumb.
but like, it's thing about Doge is it's got a huge community. It's got the Doge army, and
That's real too. They cannot be mistaken. You have to
the
take
value you get, in buying Doge is different. It's not like other coins. It's not utility based. Well, I mean, obviously there is utility in it now. Like
Elon
a lot of people are
Musk.
accepting it as payment, but honestly, the main thing about Doge and Shiba and all these other meme coins that are really coming out is what really differentiates them from a utility coin. Let's say, like what really gives them a competitive edge is their backing. They have a good community. They have actually no, they don't have a good community. They have a great community because how many times a day do you see Doge this, Shiba that? Like it's everywhere, and that's why. I mean, obviously that's why it was even on Saturday Night Live, and now at the time it was obviously big bearish movement because it was overbought, but it's got the community backing it, and that's why it'll probably be around for at least for the foreseeable future, unless something changes where maybe the Fed cracks down on crypto and they were like, oh, you have to have a use case or whatever to stick around. But unless something like that happens, I can't foresee really Doge going anywhere in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, they just have a huge community. The community is strong.
It's the community that differentiates it 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
anyway, I hate to cut short, but I gotta go. I actually gotta go get some stuff done. But
hey, I need you to do me a favor.
Yeah,
So,
what's that?
go through Coin Market Cap, and it's just really cool. I like Coin Market, and go through the top 10 and read all their white papers. You'll
All
see
their
what I'm
white
saying.
papers.
Read all the white papers. I tell most people read through the top 100 white papers in Coin Market Cap to give you kind of a good understanding of just the metrics, the backside of crypto projects and how they work. Go through their tokenomics, understand their tokenomics and how things are set up. I'll actually give you I wouldn't call it a graduate degree, but at least give you like a college class of, like a real good college class of crypto and how it works and how certain things. You'll see what I'm saying when you go through and you do it. You'll see like, oh, that's what he's talking about. I promise you, you'll like it. You'll like it. You'll be like, okay, cool. And also be much, much more informed to be able to be like, oh, check this out, check that out. And then when new consensus mechanisms start to come out, you'll be able to sit there and be like, oh, this is really good. And I tell everybody out there who's listening to me, and I've said this before, go through, read the top 10 white papers of all the major coins, and then from there, then start to plug away on the top 100, because that'll help you out a lot and kind of help you see certain things. But thank you so much for coming in today. I do appreciate it, and dude,
You're welcome.
I would love for you to come in again, dude. I mean, more often. You know what I'm saying? I like your trading style, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
Definitely. All right, my brother. Many blessings, and I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
You later, brother. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, it was fun having JR there. He's a good trader. He's actually fairly good, and he understands a lot about the technical aspect of things. So that's why I invited him on. He's really good when it comes to that aspect of things. Now we can check here real quick to finish off Doge here. Like I said, that I do see it coming down to these lower areas here, but we'll see as it moves forward how it's going to play in regards to that. We do have that that weekly moving average sitting right here with the higher time frame SMA sitting here. We do also have another zone right here, so something to be paying attention to. 1, 2, 3. It actually comes all the way up to here. There we go. And all the way down through here. So, and we also are sitting with that 200 period moving average, or not that, why do I keep saying 200? I meant 20 period moving average sitting in between Doge area. But I would definitely be looking to keep going long because today is a long day in the markets. So make sure that you're going long until we start to break resistance. All right. Once we are, once we start to break support areas, then be looking to get out of your trades as we're moving forward. Now let's check out Matic here real quick. Matic here is, where are you at here? Now I would have thought Matic, we would have seen bigger movements in Matic simply because of what's going on with Warren Buffett and the adoption of what they've been doing and what's actually been going on. But and the reason why I bring this up because we've been seeing some major buyer wigs stepping in as we sell off. We've even mentioned this a couple of times that we have buyer wigs stepping in, so it's actually pretty dope. We found support at the previous resistance here, so it's a nice little pushing up to our next resistance area here. We might see a sell-off and come back down into this level here, so be ready for that, guys. If we start to see Bitcoin start to fall apart here, be ready for a sell-off. Biggest key is as we look into those higher time frames, right? As we move down, you'll see here that we do have a slip and slide all the way back down to here. Again, at the previous demand, we do have some buyers sitting here as well at that 90 area. And if we go to the hour, still at that 90 area here. But then as we start to come back down to those lower time frames, we do see us, again, this is where then I start to lower my expectations of the slide off to the 90, 15, right here, 89. And then if we come to the 5 minute, I really don't see many buy wigs until we get down to our previous 86 mark area here. So we'll see what happens as we move, but we are in this area here, and we did put in some fatty sell wicks here with no real buyer wicks. So we'll be really interested to see as we move forward. Let's jump right into Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu, hopefully it'd be awesome if we could have Shiba Inu come on and be able to talk what they're seeing, what their plans are. As you guys can see right here, we've got some pretty big movements here. We're bouncing off that daily 20 with the 8 period moving average stepping in right here off that weekly. I do see it maybe coming up and touching into this level here. We'll find out what happens, but it'd be interesting to see as we move forward. This is the previous supply, which is now, or previous demand, which has now become supply. So be ready for that nice little retracement there if we do have it. But we are still fighting with that 20 period moving average right in these levels here. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming in today. I apologize for the long one. We just had a few guests here, and I wanted to get their views and stuff. And I pray you guys have a blessed day, and I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Real fun today. We're looking forward to see what's happening with the market with news-wise. So we'll definitely go into that. All right, guys, many blessings, and we'll talk about that stuff tomorrow. Bye-bye.